My brothers, ow. This is Greg Sneed, candidate for Grand Vice Polaris of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, greatest organization on the planet. I wanted to come to you guys live again from the campaign headquarters here in New Jersey. It's a little bit of a bittersweet day. We unfortunately lost a brother, Brother Dante Rollins, out of Epsilon Tau chapter, Fall '09. So I ask that you keep his family in your prayers throughout this very, very difficult time in our organization. And with that, I wanted to be pretty much very candid with everybody as to some things that have been happening in the campaign, some contentions that brothers have, and just give you some further insight as to where I stand. Because for some reason or another, brothers seem to get it confused as to my experience, my age, and what I can bring to this organization. But make no mistake, I'm going to definitely be speaking with brothers in regards to it. And more importantly, I'm going to go into it right now as to some of these things. There's controversy around these fines and these votes, and I urge you all to keep holding our officers accountable to make sure that everyone gets a shot to be heard and to participate in the conclave. Not insinuating anything from the top, but I know that we could have done this a little bit better, I think. And make sure that you have your chapter operations in order so that when situations like this come about, you are able to go on ahead and advocate for your chapter's participation in the conclave. Obviously, there's debate about participation and all that kind of stuff being low. Here's where we need to make participation high, because this election is going to be very, very transformative in how our organization either continues to go one way or grows to another direction. So one of the contentions about Greg is, oh, Sneed is young, and sure, I'm young, but what does that say to other organizations who do the same thing to us as an organization, where they say, well, you're only 53 years old, 54 years old. What are you guys able to do now? And you're still young, and you still got some more to learn as far as being in an organization. That's just disingenuous, I think. I think that doesn't necessarily help us to grow. Some of our youngest leaders, Ted Stevens, was around my age. I'm in my 30s. Okay, I don't have any children. I don't have a wife or anything like that. Not that that's a bad thing. But what I am saying is that regardless of all the age concerns, I bring experience. I bring new ideas and the energy necessary to give this position the attention and focus it desperately needs and deserves. Again, some of our youngest leaders, Ted Stevens, was around my age when he became Grand Polaris and took this organization to a new level through starting the process for us to be part of NPHC. We had brothers like Edgar Johnson, Tex Dean, okay, RJ, who were around my age who wanted to make some change. And while some thought it was impossible, thought that we were too young, we made it possible amongst our own peers to make this to make ourselves part of the NPHC and to make us a viable force in this organization. Some of the people that brought some of the dynamic change from the mid 2000s, 2005 to 2009, were around my age, and people are still celebrating some of that success now. And really heralding some of that as the staple as to how we need to do. So new ideas and new energy is desperate. We desperately need that and can make things happen right now. Okay. I'm an educator, and one of the criticisms that I've heard is that being an educator doesn't necessarily prepare you for running an organization. And I completely disagree with that. Administrative educational experience is very similar to business experience. Many leaders of other organizations were educators as well, and I keep in contact with some of them, one of which was Cynthia Butler McIntyre. She was the national president for the Deltas throughout their centennial, and I still have connections with her. She's an educator. In fact, she wanted me to work for her in Lafayette County for district level leadership. And this was back in 2009, before I even was really as experienced as I am with administrative experience and so forth, organizational leadership, built programs and so forth without budgets. I've created budgets and recruited new people and oversaw staff, both as a music teacher, with building a musical organization with a budget, and starting something from scratch. I got elevated to a lead teacher, monitoring other teachers and training others to do more. That's what we complain about all the time, brothers. We need training. We need adequate training and relevant training. Okay, guess who does training? People that are able to teach. Okay, I got elevated to the leadership team in my school now, where I looked at budgets. I have a budget right here, for example. All right, I can't really show you the details because it's a school budget, but part of the budget in itself, it's about $15 million that we have to look at. My budget alone is about $70,000 when it talks about allocating funds for different things: travel, supplies, personnel. Looking at with the principal, with the leadership team, to allocate my own budget to other areas that may not have a budget, for example, both in my department and outside of my department. I had to weigh in on budget items for other programs and say, you know what, you don't need to give us as much. Give this to something else. Create a line item for these different things. Many don't know that in a school system, you have lines that are pretty much allocated through codes that tell you how much and what it can be allocated towards. Because when you get audited, guess what? They need to make sure that you spent the money the right way in the right place for the right reasons. All right. Both school and district level leaders have allowed me to take part in looking at district strategic plans, goals, and benchmarks of where we are, where we're going, how we're going to get there. Budget negotiations, community outreach, professional growth plans, grade level benchmarks. This is very, very similar to having group benchmarks in a business team. Okay, inner workings of a district and school level personnel that help make the machine run. So this is what I'm currently doing in a district of over 10,000 students in 22 different schools. I see how operations come out, and I value the work of people that make it happen despite their background, and we need to do that in IOTA. We have people in the district who have a business background. We have people who have a science background. We have people with music backgrounds, English backgrounds, accounting backgrounds. They can come in and teach. It is disingenuous to say that somebody can't do it simply because they don't seem to have the background that some desire. Look at their results. These are things that I have and continue to do directly coincide with what a Grand Vice Polaris needs to do in terms of running an organization. Check my resume and you will definitely find that on my website. Now, another part is numbers. We face some contention right now in my campaign as to the amount of revenue that was brought in under my leadership as an RP. I have it available upon request, and I challenge my opponents to do the same. We've been hearing about what people have done. Here is where the numbers back it up, and numbers do not lie. So I'm telling my opponents, where are your numbers? Some of my opponents believe that it's not important to what happens when you leave office in the regional leadership, that the next leader should take the reins. While some of that may be true, that leaders should take reins and do what they should do when they're in office, you're still in your area and you're a guide to make your region better, whether you're in office or not. What has been done out of my opponents with that? Let's see some numbers as a result of your leadership. Let's see what you have done as a result of basically taking over something, making it grow, and making sure it continues to grow and not disintegrates. Let's see if retention takes it to a different level and goes on ahead and leads to graduation and leads to overall growth. Okay, these are both things that I was able to do as an RP. Now, all in all, I really have to stress that my message is actually very, very clear despite what some may contend. And more importantly, I believe in my message because it's something that we have seen happen. This is not me coming up with anything. This has actually happened. But if you're confused about that, I offer an opportunity to hear the message straight from my mouth. I've had many good contentious conversations with brothers. I've had many different debates with brothers, and they understand where I am. And that's the biggest thing. Debate brings about change. Okay? I'm not going to attack anybody personally, but I'm going to come at your record. I'm going to come at what you've done. I'm going to come at what you say you're going to do. Because the truth of the matter is, we are desperate for a new change in this organization. We cannot continue to ignore the fact that people think that things should be operating differently. And we need to set the benchmark high, and we need somebody with high benchmarks and with high productivity to make that happen. Okay? Don't be surprised if I call out and reach out to your chapter to give you an opportunity to hear my platform and see how we can make it happen together. Because we are going to make IOTA what we've envisioned. I have the resume, I have the skills, I have the results, and the numbers to back it up. I think about brothers every day. Brothers who take care of their families, who get themselves through school, look for connections to get jobs, and contribute to IOTA the best way they can. But I also listen to brothers who are fed up because their contributions don't seem to go anywhere. And that's a big thing. We need to make sure that your voices are heard. And even if we disagree on how we're going to get there, we have the same intentions to make the organization one that we envision it to be. Okay? This is why I'm running for this office. This is why I continue to work hard for IOTA and continue to serve despite what some people may question about me. Integrity and loyalty is the number one thing for me because the truth of the matter is my word stands by itself. My loyalty to brothers and to the organization is one that is unquestioned. Don't let any candidate sell you on promise without backing you up for it or without the backing to show for it. Anyone can tell you, okay, what they've done, but what can they show? What is there to say about the results here today based upon what they say that they've done? That is the question, okay? Because you don't have to have a business background, you don't have to have an educational background, or you can have any kind of background. But the truth of the matter is, okay, is how do they get people in a volunteer organization to make things happen? Again, a volunteer organization. Anybody can make something happen at work because guess what? You're getting a paycheck. But when you have volunteers who go off of their commitment and their love for the organization, what can you say that you've been able to do to make them stay and to make them make it better than what it is? We are brothers, and it's time to make sure that the next leadership is working in your best interest and not for just a few. And so I'm just going to close this with Romans 15:2. It's not so much religious, but it definitely ties into my philosophy and the core of me as a servant to help this organization get to where we want it to be. Again, we. Those of us, this is what it says, those of us who are strong and able in faith need to step in and lend a hand to those who falter and not just do what is most convenient for us. Strength is for service, not status. Strength is for service, not status. Each one of us needs to look after the good of the people around us, asking ourselves, how can I help? This is the core of my whole campaign. This is the core of me as a person. I've done it professionally as an educator. I will continue to do it as an educator, and I will definitely do it as the Grand Vice Polaris of this organization. I have the energy, I have the skills, I have the resume, I have the results, and I believe in what we can do together. I believe. I trust the brothers, and I trust your decisions, and I ask you to trust me with what I can bring to the table for the organization and what I can do to help us make it what we want it to be. So God bless you, brothers. Look for some information coming from me in terms of the open calls. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to be calling brothers up myself, and we're going to definitely gain and rally some support going into July, into Conclave, into Orlando to do what we've all envisioned to do, and that is make IOTA great. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. God bless you. Again, keep the Rollins family in your prayers. And brothers, most importantly, ow, ow. Peace.